Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing well. I just wanted to make another upload. I know that it's been a little bit, and I acknowledge that fully 100%. Um, I also realize that part of this is just it's real life. Change isn't always fast, it isn't always the way we're wanting it to be, but I am putting what I think to be my best foot forward. And ultimately, part of that is going to involve me getting out of my comfort zone and challenging myself, because looking at this little dot we call a camera isn't the most comfortable thing for me. However, when there's a bigger purpose or a bigger reason for doing so, it it can make the process easier. You can feel the fear, but you can push through that fear. And my reason is to upload these videos and help other people around me. I have a deep passion for helping people out and helping them achieve whatever they see fit for themselves. So just wanted to send out this upload. I think for me, it's time to make some changes. And like I said, get a little uncomfortable, which is never really fun. Initially, I should say. But then afterwards, you realize that you've pushed beyond what was your limit beforehand. So you're creating new boundaries and you're growing as a person. But anyways, at this point in time, I think it is best that we choose to challenge ourselves daily and evolve to that next level in our life, whatever that looks like. For me, that looks like a couple of things, which I'll get into later. And to get started, there is a really, really important thing to acknowledge, and that is that you are in the driver's seat for your life. You are the very reason as to why you're in the position that you're in. And you need to acknowledge that, take accountability, and understand that every decision that you've made up to this point has put you where you are. And your environment is a pure reflection of those choices. Just take that time, soak it in. The good thing is, however, you can change where you are right now and where you'll be in the next couple of years if you just decide to take action for yourself. With that being said, I won't lie to you, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And because of these changes that you're going to make for yourself, I would very cautiously listen to the advice that is given to you from other people. Not everyone knows where you want to go, and even if they do, they've most likely never even tried to go that far or go in that direction. So the advice that they are most likely going to offer to you is out of safety, comfort, love, of course, and just out of care. They really want you to succeed for the most part, at least the people in my life. And part of that is just through giving you advice that they think is useful. Now, of course, some of it might be useful. However, it's very important for you to listen to your inner self and find what is important to you and what's actually applicable to the outcomes that you want for your life and where you want to go. So that is the most important thing. Don't forget that. with that being said, I'm not regarding all of the advice that is given to me as unnecessary or unrelated. However, some of it I can see through it and see that certain choices that I want to make for myself and most likely yourself are going to require that you take certain risks. Risks that perhaps that family member or friend just haven't taken for themselves, which is completely fine. It's not easy. But I urge you to take that advice. Ironic, huh? That's funny. But really just take note of what's important to you, and also understand something that I've learned is that decisions that you make for yourself aren't necessarily going to make sense to anyone, even those that are closest to you. Ultimately, you have to make the decisions for yourself and go to the places that you want. And part of that is also kind of developing an understanding of what that next level looks like for you. Where do you want to go in your life? It's a huge question. So don't feel like you have to answer it right now or even tomorrow or the next day. But I urge you to just really take that time and think about it. We are living in a world where everyone wants our attention, and for the most part, speaking from my experience, you're willing to give that attention almost to the point where you don't leave any for yourself and where you want to go. So take time, take care of yourself, figure out where you want to go, and to potentially spark some ideas in your head, I will go ahead and share some of mine. So my next level, that looks like a couple of things. And the first being just less social media. Really take that time for myself. Discover who I am, what's important to me, and what sort of skills I want to develop. The second being just start reading more. Reading has never been a thing that I've been overly passionate about, or just never really found the time or made the time, more so. And so now I've been doing that, and it's been extremely pleasant. And the third one has kind of just been just feeling more comfortable socially with people that I don't necessarily know, but I want to get to learn about and understand a little more. And that could be literally anyone. I think having comfort in social settings, or at least a willingness to get out of that comfort zone, whatever that looks like, is really important. And through reading some of my books, I've learned that it's through problem solving and going through struggle that yields great happiness, which is true. But anyways, I want to get back to the books. They're only going to set you up for success. And so I'd like to share a couple of mine with you. The first being The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. This is a great overall book for starting off in whatever journey you're going through. Some of the other ones includes the 7 Rules of Self-Reliance, As a Man Thinketh, Extreme Ownership, and yeah. Now, I won't go into much details about why these books are good, but they kind of speak for themselves, and I would just highly recommend checking them out when you have the chance to. They've helped me, and I'm almost certain that they'll help you as well. So why are books good in the first place? What good can they do for us, especially when it comes to changing our lives? Well, actually, there's a lot. And the one that I've kind of honed in on is the fact that it can help me harness the right mindset that is necessary to overcome those challenges in my head as I make these changes, whatever that looks like. Of course, that's different for everybody. But I think they help you acquire the right mindset on how to continue when times are hard and how to progress even when you're unsure of where to go, and how to have a stronger understanding of sometimes why we feel confused or lost or overwhelmed, whatever the case may be. And these books are there to provide tips and kind of walk you through why you're feeling that way and how you can deal with it moving forward. So I would highly recommend that you start picking up some good books if you haven't already. And a question that you might have for yourself is, well, what makes one book better than another? Which is completely valid, especially when it comes to self-improvement. And I guess my only answer to that is just it's going to be quite obvious, or it may be obvious, but it's just how much it pertains to the situations that you're in. So the books that I tend to get are just kind of focused on how I can improve my level of thought when it comes to helping out other people, helping out myself, and navigating through those emotions like I talked about when you're at a point in time where you're just so uncomfortable, but you feel you have to do it anyways. And sometimes you step on the brakes and don't, even though you know you should. So that's kind of what I look for in books right now, at least at this chapter in my life. Now, the last thing that I want to leave with each and every one of you, and quite honestly, if this was the only thing you get out of the video, I would feel very successful, because it's very important to remember, and that's just to have patience with yourself. Have patience with yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself or the things that you're doing, because for most people, including myself, most of what I want in this life is not coming today, tomorrow, or even the next day. Please just realize that. Instead, focus on those daily efforts that you're putting in towards achieving that goal. That is what's going to help you accomplish great things and reach those goals that you have in mind for yourself. If you happen to put too much pressure on yourself, you're only going to limit your abilities to succeed, especially quickly. But I'd say succeed in general, because you're constantly going to be, I don't know what it may be for you if you're putting pressure on yourself, but for me, most of that pressure would come from comparison and a feeling of inadequacy, which would then start a cycle of like, okay, why would I even start that if I'm not going to go anywhere? Which just, it's not real. It's not real, you know? As long as you're working towards something consistently and putting in effort, you're always going to improve. It might not be the things you want to improve on at that point, but you are improving. So just know that most of your goals are going to take time. And if there's another thing that I could leave you with, it's actually a thought that was shared by Manson in his book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a... Yep, I'll let you complete that if you will. And what he says is, action isn't just the effect of motivation. It's also the cause of it. Meaning that sometimes, in order to feel motivated or inspired, we have to just take action, and that cycle or that loop will come to life essentially. So just take action. It's not gonna be easy. Oh my gosh, of course it's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be easy, but I promise you that you will never feel more motivated and inspired to continue taking action once you just start listening to the thoughts inside of your head and jump on it immediately. But anyways, I hope that you guys can achieve everything that you'd like to in this life, and just know that I would thoroughly enjoy being alongside each and every one of you as you do that for yourself. There has never been a better time to work on yourself, improve, and get to those goals and those places. So I have full faith in each and every one of you. Let's go do it, and let's reach that next level.